I've just taken over as the manager of Sunderland, and today I'm going to try and get them to the Premier League. But before we do that, we should probably have a look at the squad. I've arranged a squad with the current highest ability at the top and the lowest current ability at the bottom, and I'm going to try and determine what would be the best tactic to use for this Sunderland team. Having a look at this, our best player is Jack Clark, who is a left or right winger. He can either play as a winger on the right or as an inside forward or inverted winger over on the left. And then looking at our next 5 best players, we've got Daniel Ballard, who's a central defender, and then 4 central midfielders. That's screaming 4-3-3 to me. And why a 4-3-3? Well, because we've got such an abundance of central midfielders and players who can play in defensive midfield, and I really want to use the players we do have rather than having to spend loads of money filling in positions to fit a tactic that doesn't really suit the team. For example, there'd be really little point playing a 4-4-2 at the moment with 2 strikers up top when realistically we only have 1. Looking at our next 5 best players, there's another 2 central midfielders, or at least a central midfielder in the form of Elbington and then a defensive midfielder in the form of Evans. So it's definitely, I think, a 4-3-3. And before we look at the tactic that I'm intending to use, if you are a Sunderland fan, I'm always interested to know, how accurate do you think these ratings are? Is there anyone who should be better? Is there anyone you think is worse than the Football Manager rates them? I always want to know, does Football Manager get it right? If this is your team, let me know down in the comments below what you think. Whilst you're down there, what team do you think we should rebuild next on the channel? As well as that, if you do want to pop down in the description, I've got the links to the database I'm using, which is all updated to reflect the transfers that have happened in real life. They're at least accurate at the point I'm recording. It doesn't always finish that way, of course. In a recent Watford rebuild I did, they ended up selling a player while I was in the 3rd season, and these things happen. And with that, let's take a look at the tactic. I think I'm going to try this one this season. It's Pep Guardiola's Man City 4-3-3 made by Viking Dan. The link for this tactic on Steam will be down in the description as well. As we can see, it's a little bit of a strange one. Does it completely suit Sunderland? Maybe, maybe not. I have changed some things. We've gone from inverted wing backs to wing backs. These guys I think is all the same. It is playing with 2 Mazzalas as well. I'm not sure how that will stand up in the Championship, so that might be something we need to keep an eye on. But for the moment, this is going to be the base that I'm working off. And looking at the squad depth screen, we are okay in most areas for this tactic, although there's definitely some we could go and improve. The first area of the squad we probably could improve is our striker. We've got Stewart, who can play up front. He's okay, but not fantastic. For the rest of the squad, we look okay. We've got 5 players who can play as a left winger, 6 who can play as a right winger. We've already mentioned we've got an overabundance of central midfielders. It may even be we need to move some of them on to raise some finances. Defensive midfield, we're okay. We've got a couple of left backs, 4 right backs, 4 decent centre backs as well. Goalkeeper is a bit lacking. We've only got Alex Bass who can play there. Again, he looks okay. Is he really a Championship player though? Not at the moment. And if we do have some spare budget, I think left back probably needs a look at as well. We've got Sirkin, who is a recognised left back and probably the one who's going to start. And we've also got Elise, but he wants to play as a centre back and also is angry because he wants us to match his pay with that of Daniel Ballard. And I'm not really sure that's going to happen. And with that as well, we haven't got a huge amount of transfer budget. £200,000 left and about £15,000 of wage budget to play with. I'm not sure if this will update as we progress towards the new season and actually get moved into the Championship. Maybe, maybe not. But either way, I don't think we're going to have a huge amount of money. With that though, we need to go do the transfers. I'll be back in a second to show you what we've done. By the end of the transfer window though, what we have done is not a huge amount. Given we really didn't have a lot of money to start with, we have managed to bring in a couple of players, and one of those is Levi Colwill on loan from Chelsea. I think he's going to be a very good squad player. He can play very well as a left back and as a centre back as well. In fact, he is the best player we have in both those positions. So to be able to get him on loan for this season could really help us out. We then got Jordan Lukaku in on a free transfer to make sure we've got enough people over at left back as well. Now Lukaku, as we can see, is a 4-star player, and if you're having a look at his coach report, he's already a good Championship player, so I think he also could really help us out this season. Owen Robinson, one of our young players, did end up leaving, but I don't think we were overly worried about that. We also sent Jack Diamond out on loan to Wimbledon. Hopefully he can go there and get some game time. He's got some decent potential, but not enough ability to be playing this season. And Max Thompson is much the same thing. He's gone over to somewhere, Burton Albion, to play his football this season. He's only 20 years old and he's got some good potential. So again, hopefully that gets him some game time. And then our last signing of the season is Eldon Jakupovic. Now he is 37 years old, but he still remains a 4-star goalkeeper. He was better than Alex Bass and Anthony Patterson by some margin, and we really needed a keeper. So far in the league, 7 appearances, 7 conceded, and 3 clean sheets. He's not been doing all that badly, so ignoring the fact that he is 37 and not really a player I'd normally like to sign. You can see at the moment we are doing alright at the start of the season. There are some losses in there, but there are some wins as well, and as it stands, it does mean we are in 13th place after 7 games, which we take. I think, you know, the board want a fight bravely against relegation this season. I think we take a mid-table finish this season and hopefully get some money to be able to build on this next season. But now all of that is done, we've got to simulate through to the end of this season and see how we do. Well, as it turns out, we haven't done too badly. There's no really bad runs of form, and there's not any really good runs of form either. But what there is points on the board, something that's definitely required for a newly promoted team if they want to stay promoted. Come December and January though, there are some issues with the squad, with some players wanting improved contracts or improved playing time. Given that he'd only appeared in 2 matches in the first half of the season, Bailey Wright is allowed to leave for Melbourne City in a deal that costs the Australian club £55,000. We also put a number of players on the transfer list, mainly due to their deals running out at the end of the season, and then being unwilling to sign a new one for various reasons. Danny Bath, Alex Pritchard, Gooch, and Carl Winchester are all transfer listed in late December. But come the end of the season, all 4 are still here, having not agreed a deal with any other clubs and no transfer offers having been made for them. I'd expect all 4 of these players to be leaving come the summer transfer window though. With these players listed and new contracts offered to others, our form dramatically improves from February onwards. We actually go on a fantastic run in February itself, winning all 5 of our matches. March and April aren't quite as good, although we do keep adding points to the board, meaning we finish the season in 5th place. A very respectable and possibly unexpected finishing place for a newly promoted team. You can see here the very quick progression from game week 28 onwards as well, as Sunderland flew up the table, going as high as 4th place at one point. This means we enter the playoffs, although it is with our confidence shaken a little bit after a 4-1 loss to Watford on the last day of the season, which unfortunately is also the team we face first in the playoffs. We dominate the home game, beating Watford on shots, XG and possession. However, despite having an XG of 4.3, we only managed to score 1 goal and the game finishes 1-1. Then it's over to Vicarage Road for the second leg, and this time it's Watford who dominate the game. But once again, the game ends in a draw, this time 2-2 with goals from Roberts and Sims. Unfortunately, we lose the shootout, meaning we will be playing in the Championship again next season. Looking at the squad depth screen, I think we need to improve the squad in various areas again. For a start, we could do with a new striker. Although we have made a new offer to loan in Sims for next season again, the first leg of the Watford game has demonstrated how wasteful we can actually be in front of goal. And although Corey Evans is perfectly capable as a defensive midfielder, at the age of 32, he isn't getting any younger, and it would be nice to have someone to improve that position as well. And another goalkeeper wouldn't hurt either, to be completely honest. However, we once again have the problem of money. The board has given us a transfer budget of 2.5 million. But a wage budget of £170,000 a week, which is less than we were spending last season, and also means that we are already £45,000 over said budget before we've even started. The board have agreed to find us a senior affiliate for next season, so hopefully that will help out a bit, but it's going to be a long and hard summer trying to bring in new players with no money to do so. As I mentioned before as well, we have a number of contracts coming to an end in June, and 7 players leave the club on a free. This obviously means no money for them, which would have been helpful for a team like Sunderland, who aren't exactly flush, but we have had no transfer offers after 6 months of them sitting on the transfer list, and at least this way we've freed up some wages. Lyndon Gooch also leaves on a free just before the end of his contract, heading over to Burton. In addition to these guys, we have 5 further players leaving the club. Ross Stewart heads over to Huddersfield for £165,000. Patterson, Jack Diamond and Alex Bass all also leave the club, club for small fees. The big transfer out of the window is Dan Neil, heads to Rotherham in a deal costing him £4.7 million. Unfortunately, we don't receive a lot of the transfer revenue, and what is left mostly has to be moved into the wage budget to cover our deficit, but we do manage to get some players in nonetheless. First of our free purchases is Louis Cole, to provide us with a bit of depth at right back. He only costs us £155,000, and whilst he isn't likely to set the championship alight, he will be a solid player to play there if needed. With Dan Neil leaving the club as well, we needed a new defensive midfielder, and I've chosen to bring in James Garner for £1.6 million from Manchester United. Garner has absolutely fantastic passing attributes and a great first touch, as well as the potential to be a good Premier League player, so exactly what we're looking for as we try and rebuild Sunderland. Our final transfer is Joe Lumley, arriving on a free to challenge Djukovic for the number 1 jersey. Though his star rating is pretty poor, he does seem like a decent goalkeeper and can hopefully help us out when he needs to step into the team. With our transfer budget pretty much dried up at this point, we turn to loans and our new senior affiliate, Manchester City. As we're unable to purchase any more central defenders and we only have 3 recognised centre-backs at the club, we bring in faceless Callum Doyle, who can either play as a left-back or as a centre-back, so again offers us a nice bit of cover. Lukaku is still fractionally better than him on the left, but he has accepted to come over as an impact sub, so this shouldn't cause any problems. We then strengthen our midfield with another Doyle, Tommy, and this one has a face. He can cover as a defensive midfielder if needed, but his best position is as a Mazzala, which suits us perfectly, and he will probably be one of the first names on the team sheet this season. Our final loan signing for Manchester City is Morgan Rogers, who will be playing as our main striker this season, with Sims having left the club as we couldn't agree a new loan for him with Everton. He has got off to a decent start so far, having scored 3 in 3, and the best thing about all 3 of these players is we haven't had to pay for any of their wages. I'd always much rather sign our own players, but the finances at Sunderland just don't really allow that at the moment. Levi Colwill also remains at the club on loan for a second season. He was one of our best players last year, so I'm very happy about that. Even with these new signings, we still don't have the largest squad in the world with only 21 players. I think this is just about manageable, providing we don't get too many injuries. We have a few players who can play multiple positions if needs be, and that always helps out. At the start of the season, this is what our best 11 looks like according to the assistant manager. I'm not going to be choosing any of the players myself to allow for rotation, but I think this team should be able to match the performances of last season and maybe even go one better. But now let's simulate through season 2 and find out if they do or not. We start the season well, with 5 wins on the trot before an eventual 2-1 loss against Hull. Even that isn't quite enough to stop Sunderland's momentum, however, as they go on to win 9 of their next 11 matches. At the end of December, I decided to check back on the team to see if contracts needed renewing, and I met with some of the worst form I've ever seen during this month. No wins at all in 8 games, and only 3 points in total added to the board during the month for December. I quickly pulled the team aside for a team meeting, spoke to some players about their game time to increase the squad harmony a bit, and the team are instantly back in great form, not losing at all during the month of January. This good form carries through the rest of the season. There is a loss to Watford in February, who seem to have become the team we just can't beat, but that's one of only 2 losses in the second half of the season, meaning Sunderland finish in 2nd place, only actually getting there on the very last day of the season. I'd say the promotion itself is fully deserved though, especially when you consider that the team was top of the league for a good portion of the season, right up until that poor December spell. Looking at the performances this season, our loanees have definitely made the difference in attack. Rogers finishes with 20 goals in 42 games for the club, and Tommy Doyle has contributed an outstanding 17 goals and 15 assists as well. Unfortunately, our second best goal scorer of the campaign, Leon Dajaku, completely refused to sign a new contract and will be joining a new club in the summer. We also have the problem heading into the Premier League of not having the best squad depth. But there is money for Sunderland, with the board providing a transfer budget of £33 million and a spare wage budget of £426,000, which should be enough to improve the squad and hopefully survive the first season back in the top flight. But the aim of this rebuild was to gain promotion, and that has been achieved in 2 seasons. Sunderland are back in the Premier League for the first time since 2017. And should you want to continue with this save and see if you can maybe make Sunderland a dominant force in the Premier League for years to come, you can join my Patreon, where my star player tier provides you access to all the save files from the channel once they've finished. That's this rebuild, any others like the recent Watford save, the rebuild of Manchester United series, and anything that comes in the future. Until next time though guys, if you have made it this far, I'd really appreciate if you could drop a like on the video and subscribed. And if you have watched all the way to the end, then let me know by writing the words Black Cats in the comments below. See you on the next video. Bye bye.